"Congratulations, Adrian," Dad said, clapping a little too hard. His smile stretched across his face like it was glued there, and it made my stomach twist. "You're officially the successor for the Westbrook project." I forced a smile, nodding slowly. "That's great." Mom leaned forward, her hands folded neatly on the table. "We're so proud of you, Adrian. This is what all your hard work has been leading to." I swallowed. "And me?" My voice felt small, like it belonged to someone else. Dad's eyes slid past me. "You'll get your turn, eventually." My heart sank. Eventually? The word cut deeper than any knife. I had spent years learning, preparing, staying late at the office with Dad, watching him critique Adrian's every move, and now I wasn't even considered. Adrian grinned, oblivious. "Thanks, Dad. I won't let you down." "You've always had the drive," Mom said. "We know you'll make the right choices." I laughed bitterly under my breath. Right choices? For him, apparently. Dad shifted in his seat. "We didn't mean to, ignore your efforts. But Adrian's the stronger candidate this time." The words hit me like cold water. "Stronger?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. "After all I've done? After all I've sacrificed?" Adrian shrugged casually, looking at me like I was overreacting. "Relax, mate. You'll get there someday. Don't take it personally." I wanted to shout. "Don't take it personally? This is my life we're talking about." But instead I forced myself to nod. "Right. Someday." The rest of dinner passed in a blur of polite conversation and fake smiles. Every laugh I tried to join felt hollow, like I was a ghost at my own family table. Mom passed me the mashed potatoes, but I barely touched them. The food had no taste. After the meal I excused myself. I'm going to my room." Mom looked up, confusion flickering across her face. "Are you upset?" I didn't answer. I didn't want to give them the satisfaction of seeing me break. Instead, I retreated to my room, slammed the door, and let the silence envelope me. I sank onto my bed, my mind replaying every moment. The smiles. The clapping. Adrian's smug face. How could they choose him over me? I had stayed late, I had worked harder, I had cared more. And yet here I was, invisible. A bitter laugh escaped me. "I guess I really am nothing to them." I pressed my hands to my face. The anger, the hurt, the humiliation. It all mixed into a storm I couldn't control. They don't see me. They never saw me. Not really. I thought about Adrian walking around like he owned everything. My parents fawning over him. Their eyes lighting up when he spoke. And me, nothing. Just silence. I clenched my fist. "Fine. Enjoy your victory, Adrian. Enjoy being the golden child. But remember this," my voice was quiet but every word burned. "One day I'll come back. And when I do, you'll see who really deserves their place." I lay back on the bed, staring at the ceiling. My chest ached, but under the pain, a fire sparked. A promise to myself that no one, not Adrian, not my parents, would ever overlook me again. Tonight everything broke. But I swore to myself, through the hurt and humiliation, that I would rise stronger than they could ever imagine. And I would make them regret ever choosing him over me. I sat alone at lunch, poking at my sandwich while my classmates laughed around me. "Oi, you okay, mate?" Jake asked, nudging my shoulder. I shrugged. "Yeah, just tired." He frowned. "You've been quiet all week. Something happened over the holidays?" I forced a smile. "Nothing worth worrying about." But inside, everything hurt. Christmas had been a nightmare. Every joke, every toast, every cheer in my family's house had been a reminder that I didn't belong. Adrian's smug grin haunted me even now. "You sure?" Jake pressed. "Yeah. I'm fine," I repeated, but it sounded hollow. The next day, I found myself in the library, hiding among the stacks, trying to escape the noise of people who didn't see the storm raging inside me. That's when I noticed her. She was sitting at a corner table, books scattered, head down. When she looked up, her eyes met mine and I saw it, hurt, quiet, a kind of anger that matched my own. "Hey," I said cautiously. She blinked, then raised an eyebrow. "Hey." "I'm Sam," I said, sliding into the empty chair across from her. "Emily," she replied. "You look like you've had a rough holiday." "You have no idea," I muttered. She smiled faintly. "I do actually. My dad, he left my mom for another woman right before Christmas. I spent the night pretending everything was fine. People think they know pain, but they don't." I stared. "She gets it. Sounds rough." "It was," she admitted. "But you learn to deal. You either break or get stronger." "I feel broken," I confessed quietly. "Completely invisible." Emily leaned back. "Invisible is temporary. Strength is permanent. If you want, I can help you. Help me how? I asked, skeptical. Small stuff at first, she said. Studying, building confidence, learning to use what you have without them noticing. Then, the bigger stuff later. I hesitated. Revenge had been simmering quietly under the surface, and her words felt like fuel. Bigger stuff? I asked. She smirked. Let's start with surviving the day without snapping at everyone first. Baby steps, Sam. I laughed quietly. Felt good. Finally, someone understands. Over the next few days we met after school. Emily pushed me to speak up in class, helped me practice presentations, and encouraged me to join the debate club. You're too good to hide, she said one afternoon. You just don't know it yet. I'm not sure I want to be seen right now, I admitted. Not by them. By them? She asked, raising an eyebrow. My family, I said quietly. They chose my stepbrother over me for something important. Christmas night. I felt useless. Emily nodded. Betrayal hurts. I know. But hiding won't fix it. You have to rise, Sam. Rise so high they can't ignore you. And when that time comes, she let the words hang. You'll know what to do. I swallowed hard. She was right. My anger, my humiliation, it wasn't going away. But maybe it could become something useful. One afternoon as we left the library together, I asked, Emily, do you think revenge ever really works? She glanced at me thoughtful. It works only if it doesn't destroy you first. Plan carefully, stay sharp, and don't let it consume you. Otherwise, it's just pain with no victory. I nodded slowly, feeling a strange mix of determination and caution. I think I can do that. As we walked back through the empty streets, I felt the fire inside me grow. Not blind anger, but controlled, focused, calculated. You're smiling, Emily said, teasing. I am, I admitted, letting the first real grin in weeks spread across my face. Good, she said. This is the start. Shadows can't touch you when you're ready. I looked up at the sky, gray and heavy with winter clouds, and whispered to myself, one day they'll regret overlooking me. One day I'll show them who I really am. And for the first time since that Christmas night, I felt like the storm inside me might finally have a purpose. The school auditorium buzzed with chatter, students lining up for the annual business showcase. I stayed on the sidelines, hands shoved into my pockets, trying not to draw attention. Sam, you're up next, called Mr. Harrington, our business teacher, glancing over his glasses. I swallowed, stepping onto the stage with my laptop and notes. Adrian had already presented, of course, with his usual charm and confident grin. The audience clapped politely, but I could see the shallow nature of it all. I took a deep breath. Today, I want to show a project that, well, I think it could actually work in real-world markets, not just on paper. A few students snickered. I ignored them. Halfway through, I noticed a man in a tailored suit at the back of the room, arms crossed, watching me intently. His eyes were sharp, calculating. He made me nervous but also focused. After I finished, the room clapped politely. I stepped down, heart pounding. Impressive, the man said, approaching. I'm Mr. Whitmore. Thank you, sir, I said, trying to hide my excitement. Your ideas are unconventional, he said, glancing at my notes. Most students your age play it safe. You, however, take risks intelligently. That's rare. I blinked. I guess I've always thought being cautious only gets you so far. He smiled faintly. Exactly. Tell me, Sam, do you want to actually make a difference someday? Not just dream, but influence real outcomes. Yes, I said without hesitation. I want to prove I can do something meaningful. Good, he said. I like your ambition. I think we should work together. I can teach you things your parents never will. My stomach flipped. Work together? You mean, mentor me? Yes, he said. If you're willing to put in the effort. Leadership, negotiation, strategy, real power isn't inherited. It's earned step by step. I nodded quickly, my mind racing. I'm ready. Emily, who had come with me, whispered later, Sam, this could actually change everything for you. I know, I said, but my eyes were already thinking ahead. They don't see me now, but they will. Over the next few weeks, Mr. Whitmore pushed me harder than anyone ever had. Think like an executive, Sam. Anticipate problems before they appear. Your voice matters, but only if you know what you're talking about. I think I understand, I said after one late-night session. Think more, he pressed. Predict outcomes. Control the situation. That's how power works. Not by screaming, but by being 2 steps ahead. I practiced constantly. Leadership exercises, mock negotiations, strategy games. I absorbed everything. At school, Adrian kept flaunting his success, bragging about the promotion he'd received from our parents, clueless that I was quietly building my own empire. Still obsessed with being perfect? He asked one day, laughing in the hallway. I smiled faintly. Just focused, that's all. Focused, huh? You're working hard for nothing, he said. You'll see. Some people are born for this life, Sam. Not everyone gets a seat at the table. I didn't respond, but inside my fire burned. Born for this life? No, Adrian. Power isn't given, it's taken, earned, proven. One evening, Emily asked, "Do you ever get scared?" Sometimes, I admitted. But not scared enough to stop. I've never felt so alive, Emily. For the first time, I feel like I actually have a future I control. Good, she said, smiling. Just don't let him know yet. Let him stay in the dark a little longer. I nodded, eyes narrowing. Let him enjoy his false victories. Soon, he won't know what hit him. I lay in bed that night, thinking about Mr. Whitmore's lessons and my own determination. Every moment Adrian bragged, every smirk he flashed only pushed me further. My ideas, my strategy, my plan, it was growing quietly, out of sight but unstoppable. Power wasn't something I inherited from my family. It wasn't about being chosen. It was earned. Step by step, choice by choice, I would claim it for myself. And when I finally returned, Adrian wouldn't just be surprised, he'd be irrelevant. White heavy checkmark, word count, 750. I adjusted my tie nervously as I stepped into the grand ballroom, chandeliers glittering above, guests milling in tailored suits and expensive dresses. Relax, Sam, Emily whispered from behind me. Just blend in. No one here knows you're the overlooked stepchild. Blend in. I muttered, scanning the crowd. I feel like a shadow. She smiled. Good. Shadows are the safest place to observe. I took a deep breath and let her words sink in. I smiled, politely nodding at anyone who caught my gaze. Inside, my mind was racing. Every handshake, every polite smile, every whispered compliment was a test. Sam, you're too tense, Emily said as she handed me a glass of water. Remember, we're gathering information. Smiles, nods, listen more than you speak. I nodded, forcing a grin. Right. Listen more than speak. A man approached, extending a hand. I'm Mr. Langley Investment Firm. You're Sam, correct? Yes, sir, I replied, shaking his hand firmly. Pleasure to meet you. I heard about your presentation last week, he said. Impressive ideas for your age. Thank you, I said, keeping my tone calm. I've been focusing on practical applications. Smart, he said. Most young people just chase numbers. You seem strategic. Emily's voice whispered in my ear, keep him talking. Notice what he values. I appreciate your insight, I said, keeping my mask neutral. I'm curious, what qualities do you look for in someone you'd invest in? Discipline, foresight, and control, he said. Emotion can ruin the best plan. I filed it away. Discipline, foresight, control. That's what I need. Later, I spotted Adrian across the room, laughing loudly, holding court with several influential guests. He was showing off, flaunting his inherited position and false confidence. My stomach twisted. Look at him, I whispered to Emily. He has no idea what he's doing. Exactly, she said. And that's why you have the advantage. Observe, record, wait. I watched Adrian manipulate every conversation, laugh at the wrong jokes, nod when flattery was thrown at him. His weaknesses were obvious. Every boast was a crack in his armor, and every misstep a potential leverage point. Emily, I can't believe how blind he is, I said quietly. He thinks everyone will keep applauding him forever. That's why you're here, Sam, she said. You're learning how to mask your intentions while gathering influence. Smiles, charm, it's all part of the game. I forced another polite smile, thanking a business associate for introducing me to someone important in the city council. Inside, I was cataloging every name, every affiliation, every potential advantage. Later, Emily pulled me aside. We need a plan. Little steps first. Find allies, observe rivals, then decide how to act. I've already started, I admitted. I've noticed Adrian's overconfidence and impatience. He can't manage subtlety. And he underestimates anyone who isn't fawning over him. Good, Emily said, her eyes gleaming. Use that. But remember, masks first. You can't give anything away yet. I know, I said. I can smile, nod, laugh. Keep them thinking I'm just polite, harmless, invisible. Emily smirked. Exactly. The first taste of control is intoxicating, isn't it? I laughed softly. It is. I've never felt so aware. Every word, every gesture has weight. I can see the pieces moving. So, I'll decide how the game ends. You're not just surviving this anymore, she said. You're playing. Yes, I whispered, looking around the room. Playing, observing, learning. Every flaw, every lie, every weakness. I'm noticing it all. And one day it will work in my favor. The night went on and I kept up the mask. Smiles, handshakes, polite conversations. Inside, my mind was a map of strategies, alliances, and opportunities. Adrian's loud laugh echoed across the room. He didn't notice me. He never would, until I decided it was time. I caught Emily's gaze across the room and she nodded. I nodded back. Quiet, controlled, patient. Tonight, I learned that power wasn't about who you were born to be. It was about who could play the game better. And I was starting to understand the rules. I watched the notification pop up on my phone. Adrian's latest deal had collapsed. A major investor pulled out at the last minute, and the company's stock had dipped sharply. I clenched my jaw. This is satisfying. Emily leaned over my shoulder. Don't smirk, she whispered. You're better than that. I laughed softly. I'm not smiling. I'm acknowledging reality. Reality? She asked, raising an eyebrow. Adrian's struggling. Isn't that exactly what you've been waiting for? I looked away. Not exactly. I don't want him hurt. I want to prove I'm better, that I could handle this. Emily nodded. That's different. Revenge for its own sake clouds judgment. You've got to be smarter than him, not just lucky. I sighed, thinking about all the Christmas nights, all the family gatherings where my efforts had gone unnoticed. Adrian's smug face, his endless boasting, it had all fueled me. And now, watching him falter, I realized my satisfaction came from seeing truth exposed, not pain inflicted. Later I called Adrian. Hey Sam, have you seen the news? I can't believe this investor backed out, he said, his voice tight. I saw, I said evenly. I'm sorry it happened. You're not enjoying this, right? He asked, suspicion creeping in. Of course not, I said, keeping my tone calm. But I do hope it's a learning experience. Maybe it'll make you stronger. He huffed. Learning experience? My reputation, this is a disaster. Dad's going to flip. I'm sure you'll manage, I said, letting the words linger. He's panicking. That's enough for now. After hanging up, Emily asked, Why'd you call him? To remind him there's more to life than pride, I said. And to see how he reacts. His arrogance is fragile. I needed to confirm it. She frowned. Careful. Observing is one thing, but getting involved too soon can backfire. I know, I admitted. But I can't help feeling a little vindicated. You're human, she said softly. But don't let it consume you. Anger and resentment will only drag you down. I leaned back in my chair thinking. Emily was right. My obsession with being chosen, being recognized, it had blinded me at times. I had let every slight, every overlooked effort, weigh on me far too long. And yet I couldn't shake the fire inside. This is my chance to show them all. Not out of spite, but out of proof. The next day I bumped into Adrian at school. His face was pale and his usual swagger had disappeared. Hey, I said casually. Sam, he muttered, avoiding eye contact. I didn't expect to see you. You look stressed, I said, carefully neutral. Everything okay? He forced a laugh that sounded hollow. Sure. Just some business hiccups. Nothing I can't handle. I studied him. His hands were shaking slightly. His tone was defensive, brittle. If you need advice, you know where to find me, I said lightly. He stared at me, confused. Advice? From you? Really? Experience counts, I said. Sometimes mistakes teach more than success. He nodded slowly, muttering, Yeah, maybe. Later, Emily pulled me aside. See what I mean? Your restraint makes you stronger. You're learning without showing aggression. That's power. I nodded, thinking about how watching Adrian crumble had been bittersweet. Satisfaction was there, yes, but it wasn't enough. I wanted more, not just a fallen rival, but acknowledgement of my own capabilities. You're not obsessed with him, are you? Emily asked, concern in her eyes. I've been, I admitted. But it's not about him anymore. It's about proving to myself that I can do it. That I can be capable. Emily smiled. Good. That's the right focus. Don't let anger blur the path. I sighed, feeling the weight of weeks of planning, watching, and learning. I can't pretend it doesn't feel good to see him stumble. It feels good because it's truth being revealed, she said. Not revenge. Keep that straight, Sam. It matters. I nodded, thinking of Christmas night, of my family's indifference, of Adrian's endless boasts. The fire inside me had shifted. It wasn't hatred, it was determination. And I knew one thing for certain. When the time came, I would rise, and everyone who doubted me would see the strength I had been building in silence. But for now I would stay patient, focused, and precise. Because power, I realized, wasn't about tearing others down, it was about proving you belonged. And I would prove it. The family estate glowed with chandeliers and laughter, but I felt nothing but tension. Tonight was the annual winter gala, and Adrian was at the center, boasting about his achievements, as if the world had always belonged to him. Emily whispered beside me, "Remember, Sam? Patience. Watch, listen, then strike." "I know," I murmured, my jaw tight. Across the room, Adrian laughed loudly, shaking hands with business associates. I could see the arrogance in his every move, the same arrogance that had cost him before. And tonight I had the chance to show everyone the truth. "Sam, you okay?" my cousin Rachel asked, stepping beside me. "I'm fine," I said with a polite smile. Inside my pulse raced. Emily nudged me. "Now." I took a deep breath, letting my calm mask settle over me. I walked toward the small group of investors and whispered, "Did you see Adrian's latest numbers?" One of them frowned. "Numbers? I thought everything was fine." I smiled faintly. "That's what he wants you to think. But I've reviewed his reports. Some deals are in jeopardy, he overextended, underestimated risk, and a few partners are considering withdrawing." Their faces shifted from confusion to concern. Whispers spread like wildfire. Adrian noticed immediately, striding over. "Sam, what are you saying?" His voice wavered slightly, betraying his confidence. "Just the truth," I said evenly. "You need to be aware before the gala. Your decisions could backfire if unchecked." Adrian's eyes narrowed. You can't, this is my responsibility." "I know," I said calmly. "But responsibility doesn't mean immunity. Everyone deserves the facts." He stepped back, pale, scanning the room. The subtle panic in his posture thrilled me. I could feel the power shift, the satisfaction bubbling beneath my restraint. Emily whispered in my ear, "Keep composed. Don't let it turn personal." "I'm not," I whispered back even as adrenaline surged. "I'm demonstrating reality." One of the investors asked, "Sam, are these numbers verified?" "Yes," I said firmly. "I double-checked them personally. You'll want to review the contracts before making decisions." The murmurs grew louder. Adrian's facade cracked further. His voice faltered as he tried to reclaim control. I can explain. There's a reason." "Reason or excuse?" I asked softly, letting the question hang. He flinched, glancing at the crowd. Some raised eyebrows, others whispered to each other. The very people who once hung on his every word now questioned him. Emily touched my arm. "See? Patience, strategy. Not aggression. This is real power." I nodded, though guilt tugged at me. Am I any better than they were? I had exposed his failures in front of everyone. Was this justice, or had I become what I despised? Adrian's voice grew desperate. This isn't fair. You're trying to ruin me." "I'm not trying to ruin you," I said steadily. "I'm letting the truth speak. Decisions have consequences, Adrian. You'll learn." The investors moved away to examine contracts and ask questions. Adrian's face drained of color. I stayed calm, letting the tension linger, letting the whispers and glances do the work for me. Rachel, noticing the shift, murmured, "Sam, wow. You didn't yell or embarrass him outright. But everyone sees now." I exhaled slowly. "Control, Rachel. The moment you lose control, you lose everything." Emily smiled. "Exactly. You've crossed a line tonight, but strategically. Not recklessly. That's key." Adrian glared at me one last time before retreating to a quiet corner, muttering under his breath. I felt the satisfaction, but also a weight. "Guilt?" Emily asked, sensing it. "A little," I admitted. "I feel the line between justice and revenge blurring." "That's normal," she said. "The important part is you stayed composed. You didn't act out of anger. You acted with strategy." I nodded, letting her words settle. The room hummed with energy, conversations shifting toward reality instead of perception. Adrian had been exposed, but subtly, carefully. Not destroyed, yet not unharmed. I realized something crucial tonight. Power wasn't about hurting others. It was about asserting truth, demonstrating capability, and controlling perception. Anger could fuel action, but strategy made it sustainable. As I stood near the balcony, watching the city lights reflect off the snow outside, I whispered to myself, this is only the beginning. Patience, control, strategy, and one day, everything I've worked for will be undeniable. Emily came up beside me. You did well tonight. Very well. I smiled faintly. Thanks. But it's just a taste. I want more, just the right way. She nodded. Then you'll have it. But remember, don't cross lines you can't come back from. I looked back into the ballroom where Adrian tried to regain composure and whispered, I know. And I'll make sure every move counts. For the first time, I understood the thrill of controlled power, the intoxicating taste of influence. And I knew I wouldn't stop, until everyone who doubted me saw what I was truly capable of. I stormed into the living room, Emily trailing quietly behind me. My parents were seated on the leather sofa, glasses of wine in hand, their expressions unreadable. Sit, Dad said curtly. I stopped in my tracks. Sit? After everything? Mom sighed. Sam, you need to hear this. It's time you knew the truth. I crossed my arms, fuming. The truth? I know the truth. Adrian was chosen over me. He's a fraud and you all ignored me. Mom shook her head. Not everything you think you know is accurate. Adrian, he's manipulated situations, Sam. We didn't tell you because we wanted you to see for yourself, eventually. I froze. Manipulated? What do you mean? Dad leaned forward. Adrian has been twisting facts, misleading investors, even lying about his achievements to make himself look better than he is. We've been covering minor issues to prevent scandals, but you were never supposed to know, not yet. Emily's hand squeezed mine. See? That doesn't erase your anger, Sam, but it changes the perspective. I ran a hand through my hair. So all this time, it wasn't just him succeeding legitimately? You're telling me my entire resentment is tangled in lies. Mom nodded slowly. Yes. And we failed you in guiding you through it. We wanted you to grow without bitterness controlling your choices, but we didn't handle it correctly. I paced my chest tight. So all my planning, my strategies, my restraint, I've been fueled by half-truths. Emily shook her head. Not entirely, Sam. The lessons you learned, the control you practiced, the patience, that's all real. That's your power, not his lies. Dad's voice softened. We should have told you sooner. But we were afraid it would hurt you too much. You've been wronged, but not by him alone. We were blind too. I sat down heavily, the weight of their words pressing on me. I don't know how to feel anymore. Part of me wants to scream. Another part, I don't know. Confused. Emily kneeled beside me. Confusion is okay. But don't let it destroy your focus. You've grown stronger through this. That's undeniable. I looked at her, grateful yet frustrated. I built all of this, yet suddenly, everything I thought was solid is shaky. How do I even reclaim my place when reality itself is shifting? She smiled gently. By realizing that power isn't about taking someone else down. It's about creating your own life, your own rules. You've already started. These revelations don't erase your progress, they refine it. I took a deep breath, thinking of all the late nights, the strategies, the subtle victories over Adrian's arrogance. So, you're saying I can use this, not to destroy him but to define myself? Emily nodded firmly. Exactly. The best revenge is living well, Sam. But this time do it for you, not because of anyone else. I glanced at my parents. Dad's eyes were serious but gentle. Sam, the legacy you think was taken from you? It's yours to reclaim. But you need to see the full picture first. Don't let anger blind you. Let clarity guide you. Mom added, and Sam, we're proud of how you've handled yourself. Even if you didn't realize it, your restraint and patience have shaped you into someone we admire, despite everything. My chest tightened, emotion threatening to spill over. I thought this was about revenge. I thought I needed to prove something. But maybe, it's about me becoming someone I can respect. Emily's hand squeezed mine again. Exactly. You've already proven resilience, intelligence, and patience. Now you reclaim identity, Sam. Not by tearing others down, but by building yourself up. I exhaled slowly, letting the truth settle. Adrian manipulated, yes, but I can't let that define me. My choices, my path, that's my power. And I won't let lies, his or ours, control how I grow. Dad nodded approvingly. You're beginning to understand. Power is not just about exposing weaknesses. It's about mastering your own life. Influence, control, legacy, they all start from self-mastery. I swallowed, a fire rekindling inside me, not the blind rage that had consumed me for months, but a measured, purposeful fire. Then I choose to reclaim my legacy on my own terms. To redefine myself without letting hatred rule me. Emily smiled, tears glinting in her eyes. And I'll be here every step of the way. I looked at my parents, then at Emily, feeling clarity for the first time in weeks. I've wasted too much energy on anger. But the fire, the drive, that can't die. I'll turn it into something constructive, something undeniable. Mom reached out. Sam, we trust you. And we believe in the person you're becoming. I exhaled, letting the tension leave me. Then it's decided. I'll rise, not to prove him wrong, not to show you, but to show myself who I really am. Emily squeezed my hand one last time. Then let's make it happen. Strategically, patiently, and powerfully. I nodded, feeling the weight of clarity settle. The confusion was fading, replaced by purpose. And for the first time since Christmas night, I felt ready, not just to reclaim my place but to redefine my identity on my own terms. The anger that had fueled me was no longer a burden. It had become a spark, one I could channel into creating my own life, my own victories, and my own undeniable legacy. The estate looked the same as it had that fateful Christmas, but I saw it differently now. Every ornate detail, every polished surface, this was no longer a place that diminished me. I returned not as the ignored stepchild, but as someone who had earned respect, built influence, and mastered control. Emily walked beside me, her presence steadying me. Ready? She asked softly. I nodded. More than ever. This isn't about revenge, it's about claiming what's mine. We entered the grand hall, where Adrian was entertaining a small group of family and business associates. His smile faltered as soon as he saw me. Sam, he said, a little too forced. You're back. Yes, I said calmly, letting my eyes sweep the room. Back and with a few things to address. Emily squeezed my hand, whispering, Stay composed. Let your presence do the work. I nodded. Every step I took radiated confidence. I could see the confusion in Adrian's eyes, the sudden awareness that I wasn't the same boy he'd once dismissed. Everyone, I began, projecting my voice just enough for the room to listen, I think it's time we discuss reality. Adrian's brow furrowed. Reality? What are you talking about? I smiled faintly. Adrian, your recent ventures have had setbacks. Your overconfidence and mismanagement are no secret to those of us who have been paying attention. The room shifted. I could see some family members exchanging glances, some of the associates nodding subtly. He took a step forward, trying to regain control. Sam, you don't know what you're saying. You weren't involved in those decisions. That's true, I said calmly. But observing from the outside gives clarity. And what I see is a pattern of missteps, a lack of foresight, and a reliance on charm instead of strategy. Emily's presence behind me was reassuring. She gave a small nod. This is our moment, I reminded myself. Adrian's face paled slightly. You think you're better than me? I let a pause linger, measuring every word. Better? No. More prepared, perhaps. More aware. And that awareness allows me to act where you stumble. My parents, seated nearby, exchanged a glance. I caught the subtle lift of Dad's eyebrows, a mixture of surprise and newfound respect. Mom cleared her throat. Sam, I raised a hand gently. No words yet. Let's allow facts to speak. Turning back to Adrian, I continued, several investors have questioned your latest projects. Minor issues, perhaps, but enough to cause serious concern. And yet, you present yourself as infallible. He swallowed, visibly shaken. I didn't. Your intentions might have been good, I said, but execution matters. Influence, leadership, control, they aren't inherited. They are earned. And the mistakes you've made, Adrian, have created an opportunity for those prepared to step forward responsibly. Whispers grew among the gathered family members. I felt the subtle shift of power, the energy bending toward me. It was intoxicating, but I reminded myself to remain composed. Calm confidence speaks louder than anger ever could. Emily whispered, You're doing it perfectly. Not angry, not vengeful. Just undeniable. I nodded slightly, then addressed the room more broadly. I've spent the past months refining my approach, learning patience, strategy, and the value of observing before acting. I've seen the consequences of arrogance and impulsiveness firsthand. And I have a vision, one that benefits not only my own growth, but the legacy of this family and its ventures. Adrian's hands trembled at his sides. He looked around, desperate for support, but saw only polite, cautious nods. His position had weakened. Sam, he started, then faltered. Not trying to belittle you, I said quietly, projecting authority without malice. Merely demonstrating that preparedness and strategy matter more than inherited privilege. Dad cleared his throat, finally speaking. Sam, I underestimated you. And perhaps we underestimated Adrian too, though clearly the lesson has been learned. Mom nodded, her voice soft. You've grown, Sam. Your composure, your clarity, it's admirable. And Adrian, this is a moment for learning, not shame. I exhaled softly. Thank you. I've learned that true power isn't about destroying others. It's about mastering oneself, building resilience, and exercising patience. Only then can influence be wielded responsibly. Emily smiled, proud. And you've mastered it, Sam. Completely. I glanced at Adrian, whose arrogance had crumbled but not entirely disappeared. Adrian, I'm not here to humiliate you. I'm here to demonstrate that leadership, influence, and control are earned, not assumed. Mistakes don't define you, but neither does inherited privilege. Actions do. He swallowed hard, nodding faintly. I understand. I turned to the room, letting my eyes sweep across the family and associates. And that is why I reclaim my position, not to overshadow but to lead responsibly with awareness and foresight. Those who follow and those who support will find a partner in me who values strategy, patience, and integrity. Emily gave my hand a gentle squeeze. You've done it. You've reclaimed control without losing yourself. I exhaled, feeling the culmination of months of restraint, learning, and observation. The weight of resentment had lifted, replaced by clarity. I was no longer defined by betrayal or exclusion. I was defined by my choices and my growth. Adrian, finally finding his voice, said softly, Sam? I see now. You've earned this. I nodded. Thank you. That acknowledgement matters more than any confrontation. Mom and Dad exchanged glances again, both humbled by the transformation they witnessed. We see you, Sam, Dad said. Completely. And we're proud. I turned to Emily, my anchor through it all. We did this together. Your guidance, your perspective. I couldn't have done it without you. She smiled, warmth in her eyes. You did the work, Sam. I just reminded you of what you already knew. I looked around the estate, absorbing the gravity of the moment. For the first time, I understood true power, self-mastery, resilience, and strategic patience. It wasn't about humiliation or vengeance. It was about rising, calmly and confidently, to claim one's rightful place. The journey had cost me deeply, tested me relentlessly, but I emerged stronger, wiser, and unbroken. I squeezed Emily's hand. This is the start of a new chapter. Not defined by betrayal, but by the choices I make from here. She nodded. And you'll make them brilliantly, Sam. I know it. I inhaled, feeling the air fill me with purpose. Then let's move forward. Strategically, thoughtfully, and undeniably. Adrian stood to the side, humbled, yet still present. I didn't need to gloat. My calm strength spoke for itself. My parents watched, humbled and proud. Emily stood beside me, unwavering. And I finally realized that influence and control weren't about winning over others. They were about mastering oneself, about being unshakable in the face of adversity. I had reclaimed my glory, not by rage, not by spite, but by patience, preparation, and quiet confidence. And this time the power was mine, fully, undeniably, and responsibly. The estate was quiet, almost serene. I walked slowly toward the living room, the familiar scent of pine and cinnamon greeting me. The Christmas tree stood in the corner, lights twinkling softly, ornaments reflecting the glow. I paused, letting the memories wash over me. Emily appeared beside me, her presence calm and steady. You look different, she said softly. I feel different, I admitted, running a hand along the smooth surface of the tree stand. It's strange, standing here after everything. She smiled. It's not strange. You've changed. That boy who felt invisible, he's gone. I chuckled lightly. Invisible? That was a long time ago. Now, I define myself. Not them, not Adrian, not anyone. Emily nodded. You've come far, Sam. Farther than most ever do. I stared at an ornament I had hung years ago, one that had once symbolized hope now turned into a reminder of heartbreak. I remember crying under this tree, feeling ignored, unworthy, betrayed. And now, she asked. I exhaled slowly. Now I see it differently. That pain, it shaped me. It fueled me. I didn't let it destroy me. I used it to become someone stronger, smarter, unshakable. Emily squeezed my hand gently. That's true power. Not revenge, not anger, resilience. I nodded. Months have passed and the family dynamics have shifted. Adrian, he's humbled, not ruined. My parents, they've learned too. But it's not about them anymore. It's about me and the life I choose to lead. Emily smiled. And it's working. You've reclaimed control without losing yourself. That's rare. I allowed myself a small, satisfied smile. It feels quiet, peaceful. But beneath that peace is strength. I know what I'm capable of now. The room was still. I looked around at the twinkling lights, the familiar ornaments, the quiet hum of the estate. Funny, I murmured, this tree used to symbolize my heartbreak. Now, it's a reminder of victory. Silent, steady, unshakable. Emily leaned on my shoulder. Victory doesn't always need a crowd. Sometimes it's just knowing you've conquered yourself. I smiled, eyes softening. Exactly. That's the real gift. Not toys, not accolades, not approval, but control over my own life. Knowing that nothing can define me except my choices, my resilience, my patience. I glanced toward the doorway, imagining my family bustling in, unaware of the subtle shift that had occurred. They'll notice eventually, I said quietly. Not because I need their validation, but because the truth is undeniable now. Emily tilted her head, thoughtful. Do you miss the old days? The fights, the resentment. I shook my head. No. I needed them to become who I am. The pain, the betrayal, it was necessary. But I've transformed it into something powerful, not destructive. That's the difference. She laughed softly. Sam, you sound like someone who could run the world. I smirked. Maybe. But I'm content with running my own life first. The rest will follow naturally. A faint sound of footsteps drew my attention. My parents passed by in the hallway, a quiet acknowledgement in their eyes. No words were necessary. They had seen, they had learned, and now they understood, silently like me. Adrian's voice echoed faintly from another room, subdued. He wasn't destroyed, but he had changed. I didn't feel triumph over him. Instead, relief. The chaos, the struggle for validation, it no longer had a hold on me. I returned my gaze to the tree, the lights reflecting in my eyes. I used to think the holiday was about family, about approval, about being chosen. Now I know it's about something else entirely. Choice, growth, power. Emily squeezed my hand one last time. And you've claimed it, Sam. Fully, unapologetically. I nodded, feeling the finality of that statement settle deep within me. I have. And it's enough. More than enough. I'm free. She smiled softly. Then what now? I looked around the room at the ornaments, the twinkling lights, the quiet glow of the estate. Now, I live my life by my rules. I act with patience, strategy, and purpose. I embrace my power, my independence, my resilience. And I never let anyone else define me again. Emily chuckled softly. That sounds perfect. I took a deep breath, letting it out slowly, savoring the sense of quiet victory. It is perfect. Silent, steady, and mine. Finally, truly mine. The Christmas tree glimmered behind us, a witness to the journey, the heartbreak, the struggle, the growth. I smiled faintly. The real gift, I murmured, wasn't beneath the tree. It was what I discovered within myself. And for the first time in years, I felt completely, undeniably at peace.